This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Thursday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Here's what's making headlines on this June 4th. After 6 days, protests in Indianapolis continue to demand justice for both George Floyd and Drejon Reed. The message reads, Mom has for IMPD and the prosecutor's office.
All 4 officers involved in Floyd's death are now in custody. The latest on their charges and the memorial service set to take place in Minneapolis today.
And county fairs won't be the same this year without rides, but 4-H is getting creative to keep the tradition going. How the organizers are making sure students will still get to show off their hard work. At 5 o'clock here on your Thursday morning, we need to check in. It is a Storm Team 6 alert day.
That's right. You may be waking up to some thunder. Todd, I know on my driving to work, I saw some pretty decent lightning strikes out there. So what's going on the radar right now?
You know, it's the same for me, Lauren. Nothing severe. I'll point that out right away here. That's the good news. But obviously, lightning is always dangerous within any thunderstorm. And our biggest issue, probably ponding on the roadways and some localized flooding as this heavier rain moves through. And look at this rain right now from Terre Haute still up towards Rockville, where there are flood warnings in place. We'll come in a little bit closer here. A lot of lightning now making its way into Hendricks County over towards Danville, back towards Bainbridge as it crossed the county line. Greencastle, some heavy rainfall. And this is heading right towards Marion County Speedway, getting some heavy rain. You'll get the lightning here shortly as we get into the next 15 minutes or so. And then this heavy rain will be into downtown Indianapolis before the bottom of the hour. Rain's a little lighter here off towards the east. And watch what happens. This heavy rainfall was south of Terre Haute, and it kind of gets absorbed into this line. This line will slowly continue to sink down to the south here this morning. Then we get a break from the rainfall for a little while. Some additional storms are possible later on this afternoon. More on that for you coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Todd, thank you. We do have a traffic alert for drivers heading out on the roads right now. You're going to have to deal with the rain, and you can see that from our camera here up in Boone County. And it's shaking in the breeze up there, but you can also see all those flashing lights. So here's what we're monitoring. 2 semis crashing here in the northbound lanes of I-65 near US 52 in the Lebanon area. This is a spot where we had a semi crash yesterday morning. That one was up a little bit farther near State Road 47, but this is where the closure was at. So same spot for your closure for your commute this morning. You'll have to get off on US 52, take that northbound. It runs along the interstate, luckily, so it shouldn't slow you down too much. At State Road 28, you can head back eastbound to reconnect with those lanes of I-65 pretty easily. So we'll continue to monitor this and let you know if there are any issues or how long it's going to be closed. We're not quite sure yet, but just keep that in mind as you're heading out the door this morning.
Hundreds of people gathered and marched through downtown on what was the 6th day of protests last night. One difference, though, there was no curfew. Demonstrators continued to demand social change and police accountability, not only for the death of George Floyd, but also Drejon Reed.
Yeah, our Kelsey Anderson is joining us live this morning with what the family of Reed does not believe the narrative, why they do not believe the narrative IMPD is giving. Kelsey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. So the attorneys for Drejon Reed's family, they say they do not believe that he shot a gun at police officers. And they also say if he did have a gun on him, that he had the right to under the Second Amendment. Last month, Reed was on Facebook Live as he led police on a pursuit, according to the Metro Police. IMPD says Reed then got out of his car and shot towards officers as Reed ran away from them. The family's attorney says, according to their witnesses, he never shot at police. That part, they say, is simply false. IMPD tells RTV6 they haven't had any eyewitnesses come forward, despite the fact that they called for witnesses to come forward and share what they saw. So far, police say no one has talked to them.
The narrative that we've all heard is that Drejon Reed shot and fired at an Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department officer. And I'm here to say to you today, unequivocally, that Drejon Reed, Sean Reed, did not shoot a gun, did not point a gun, did not brandish a gun at an officer.
But on the left side, it was a hole that they pushed some stuff in so I couldn't see the inside of his face. So if you say he deserved that, you're wrong.
IMPD Chief Randall Taylor is calling for the immediate appointment of a special prosecutor as requested by Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears. But there is a process that goes into accepting the duty of handling the investigation, and so far, no one has taken on the job. Rafael Sanchez spoke to Mears about this process. You can see that entire interview over on the IndyChannel.com. Now, some of Reed's family members tell us that they have been sleeping at the site where Reed was killed since May 6th. That's the day that this happened, and they said they'll continue to sleep there until there's justice. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. It is 5:05. The Indianapolis Fire Department says they've responded to more than 1,600 incidents due to the protests this past weekend. They all happened between Friday and Monday night. Officials say they include 18 structure fires, 15 dumpster fires, and 2 car fires. All of them have been ruled as arson. Investigators ask that anyone with any information or even security camera footage of the fires to please contact Crime Stoppers.
Businesses impacted by the destruction and looting are working to bounce back. Doug Stevens owns Downtown Comics on Market Street near Monument Circle. Like many businesses in the area, the windows are broken and now boarded up. Stevens expects the plywood to stay up for several weeks because he does not know if his store will be damaged again. That's why he asked local artists to cover the wood with artwork to create a welcoming feeling to customers. Of course, this comes after many businesses had to close for weeks under COVID-19 restrictions.
We've gotten everything destroyed down here. It's just, you know, we all look around and go, we don't even remember the pandemic because after all of this. And you know, I mean, the overarching thing I want to say is we downtown businesses, we need you, the people of Indianapolis, to come and support us because we've been hurt and we need help.
If you'd like to help businesses impacted by recent protests, the nonprofit Downtown Indy has created a small business recovery fund. For donation and volunteer information, you could head to the RTV6 app. The first of several George Floyd memorials will take place this afternoon in Minneapolis.
And this service comes one day after charges were filed against more police officers who were at the scene of Floyd's death. John Lawrence reports.
10 days after his death, George Floyd will be remembered at a small memorial service at North Central University in Minneapolis.
We want justice for what's going on right now. I appreciate everyone showing him some support and love.
The Reverend Al Sharpton is delivering the eulogy. Floyd family attorney Benjamin Crump will give a national statement.
Let's take a breath collectively for all of the marginalized and disenfranchised and dehumanized people, whether black, brown, white, or red.
Floyd's death has sparked protests nationwide, as well as comments from former presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama.
As activists and everyday citizens raise their voices, we need to be clear about where change is going to happen and how we can bring about that change.
Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, whose knee was on Floyd's neck for nearly 9 minutes, is facing upgraded charges of second-degree murder. 3 other officers are also facing charges of aiding and abetting him and are scheduled to appear in court Thursday. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Well, a public viewing and a memorial service for Floyd will be held Saturday in Rayford, North Carolina. Another public memorial is set in Houston. That one's scheduled for Monday.
Now to the latest on the coronavirus pandemic and its impact on Hoosiers. 511 new cases and 10 new deaths have been reported by the Indiana State Department of Health. The deaths were reported between May 29th and Tuesday. More than 35,000 cases have been reported since the pandemic began. 10,000 of those were reported in Marion County. State health officials say they have a plan to test every nursing home worker in Indiana for COVID-19. As Call 6 investigates has reported, nearly half of the state's deaths have happened in long-term care facilities. Officials say the goal is to test the workers by the beginning of July. The health department strike team and National Guard will be used to help. State officials also say they plan to allow outdoor visitation very soon.
As we approach summer, we're also approaching fair season. The Great Indiana Tradition that is being held across the state are being impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Our Alyssa Donovan has more details.
Fairs are going to be very different this year across central Indiana. There won't be carnivals, food, or crowds, and kids who've been working with animals like these for months won't have the same experience with 4-H.
I've been doing it for, I think, 5 years now.
14-year-old Braden Hill has been caring for his pig Dre since February. His mom watching as her son has learned responsibility from the 4-H project.
Come feed the pigs, wash the pigs, walk the pigs every night.
I'm just walking them right now. It's definitely teaching me a lot of life lessons, and it's great hard work. And then when it comes to fair time, it's nice to see all your hard work pay off.
The payoff showing that hard work at the Hancock County Fair.
The stands would be packed and like sardines trying to find a seat.
But this year, the seats will be empty, no spectators, and only the people necessary to get the job done when it comes to showing animals. Exhibitors will have to wear face masks. The social elements of the fair and 4-H is going to be practically non-existent.
We might be showing off of trailers this year. Pigs aren't staying overnight. It's basically you show up, you show, and you leave. So big changes instead of being there for 3 or 4 nights. To have that part of it this year is going to be really tough.
While Braden and his family are disappointed,
it's definitely kind of a bummer that we work with them like this and then they're not going to have much time there like usual.
They understand the need for the strict guidelines.
I understand because it's a lot of the grandparents and things and young kids.
I'm glad that they're taking their safety precautions to keep everybody safe.
The Hancock County Fair is set for July 10th through the 17th. However, exhibitors have been told the rules and regulations may still change. I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
All right, thank you, Alyssa. This morning on the Storm Team 6 Alert Day, we are dealing with rain making its way through central Indiana. Some of this rain is pretty heavy, and we're dealing with some thunderstorms as well. Nothing severe. This is just plain old rain, but a heavy downpour, or downpours, I guess I should say, and a lot of lightning here making its way through Hendricks County, Brownsburg, back through Danville, as you work your way along US 36 there, US 40 as well, as you work your way through Hendricks County, and then right along I-70 by the airport there, Mooresville, some heavy rain and some lightning. That's going to be making its way into downtown Indianapolis shortly. A few more lightning strikes here down on the Johnson-Shelby County line. This will continue to sink its way southward throughout the course of the morning hours. Not expecting severe weather this morning. The severe threat comes this afternoon as these storms flare back up. With all the heat and humidity, it's a marginal risk for severe weather for parts of the area today. We'll talk more about this for you coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd. Well, Saints quarterback Drew Brees is under fire after some comments he made about the NFL protests. Coming up, the backlash he's facing from teammates over those remarks.
And more options are now available for Hoosiers who use SNAP benefits. Still ahead, the stores now allowing recipients to use pickup and delivery. We'll be right back.
New Holy Moly 2, the sequel, ABC Tonight.
Welcome back. The time right now is 5:16 on your Thursday morning. Here's a look at the downtown area at I-65 in the North Split. You just saw a flash of lightning there, and we do have the wet roads as the rain moves across central Indiana. Looks like in the reflection there may also have some flashing lights, so we'll continue to monitor any issues for your commute. Just take it easy as you head out there this morning due to all the showers.
New Orleans Saints quarterback and Purdue grad Drew Brees facing criticism from his own teammates for the comments he made about the NFL protests. Brees was asked about Colin Kaepernick and others taking a knee to protest police brutality a couple years ago. He said he will, quote, never agree with anyone disrespecting the flag. That drew a lot of criticism on social media and an emotional reaction from Malcolm Jenkins, a safety for the Saints.
Drew Brees, if you don't understand how hurtful, how insensitive your comments are, you are part of the problem.
Brees has not responded to those comments. During the interview, he did say respecting the national anthem is not just about showing respect to the military, but also to anyone who sacrificed for this country, including the civil rights movement.
Legislation to help small businesses is now heading to the president's desk for final approval. This message will make it easier for business owners to use money from the Paycheck Protection Program. The original requirement was that 75% of the loan must be used for payroll. That's going to drop down to 60%. There will will also be more time allowed to spend it while still being eligible for forgiveness. That window widens from 8 weeks to 24. President Trump is expected to sign that legislation into law.
Hoosiers who receive SNAP benefits are also getting some help during the pandemic. They can now order groceries for pickup and delivery online. The Family and Social Services Administration says people can use their Hoosier Works EBT card online at Amazon and Walmart, but any delivery fees may not be paid with the benefits. The FSSA program says the program aims to provide help for those most at risk for COVID-19 and will now be available permanently.
Delta Airlines says it will continue social distancing on flights through the summer. The company announcing that seating capacity in the main cabins will stay at 60% through September 30th. Delta says that all middle seats will be shown as, quote, unavailable when booking. Some aisle seats will also be blocked off. The airline is also extending its flight change waivers through June 30th. Universal Orlando is now open, and it's the first major theme park to do so. Only invited guests and season pass holders were allowed for the soft reopening yesterday, but there were still crowds of people waiting to get inside. There are new rules at the park, including mandatory face coverings for guests and temperature checks. Guests are also being spaced out on rides, and single riders are not allowed. The Universal Orlando will officially open back up to the public tomorrow. Back here at home, it's 5:18. It's Thursday morning, and Todd, we have a busy morning, I should say, in our forecast. What's going on out there?
Yeah, it's a loud morning for many of you with these thunderstorms rolling through. No severe weather this morning. That's the good news. I'm not anticipating any of these storms going severe here this morning, but flooding is definitely going to be a concern on a localized scale for you. And of course, the lightning makes every thunderstorm dangerous, so do not go outside during these storms. Look at the lightning strikes here through Hendricks County from Plainfield through Danville back towards North Salem, back towards Stilesville. A lot of lightning. This is now getting ready to move into Indianapolis, where we are just now picking up these white lightning strikes. Those are the most recent ones on the south side of Indianapolis there as you work your way over towards Beech Grove as well. So this band of heavy rainfall getting ready to move into downtown Indianapolis. Zionsville here at the bottom of the hour as well. And then eventually Carmel and Fishers, you'll get into some heavier rain. You may miss out on some of the lightning, but by the time we get towards the 5:43 to 5:50 time frame, you'll see some of that heavier rain. It's much lighter here on the eastern side of the state, and then back off to the west. There's still some moderate rain. Rockville over towards the Brazil area, Spencer down into Bloomington. So this band of rain and storm action will slowly continue to work its way down to the south, and it's kind of weakening as it does, with the exception of that one little cell that's been maintaining its strength. But as we work our way throughout the morning hours, I wouldn't be surprised if we fill this map up with a little more green, and these are flood warnings on the western side of the state. That's where the water is just a little bit higher, and there was more ponding as they got into some heavier rainfall a little earlier in the overnight hours. We'll miss out on all this real heavy rainfall, but this is a weak little front that's just settling across the area, and as it slides down to the south, watch what happens. While we get a break, and there are dry hours here throughout the day today, during the peak heating of the day, we'll start to flare up additional thunderstorms across the area, and these will once again, very similar to last night, provide some heavy rain, some lightning, maybe even a little bit of small hail. And the best chance of seeing an isolated warning later on today will be exactly where that front sets up. And right now that looks to be to the south and east of Indianapolis. It is warm. It is muggy out there this morning. Temperatures are sitting in the 60s and 70s. Here's that marginal risk for severe weather from the Storm Prediction Center. The main issue would be flooding, some high winds, hail, and the tornado threat pretty low, if not nil, here throughout the day today. Going forward in this forecast, more of the same tomorrow. Some scattered storms, still warm and muggy. The weekend, though, terrific with lots of sunshine, a low humidity, Lauren, and temperatures in the 80s.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Here's a live look right now at traffic. We are monitoring a traffic alert. This is for drivers in Boone County or heading north of there on 65. The northbound lane shut down at US 52 for a double semi crash that happened in this area. You can see the camera bouncing around there with the wind as well. So use caution. You will need to get off at US 52 and take that northbound instead. We'll continue to keep an eye on this cleanup process and let you know when things are back open. Give yourself some extra time to take a detour.
A World War II relic was stolen during protests and luckily returned. After the break, the surprising reason the thief said they took it. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. We are monitoring traffic this morning as it is a Storm Team 6 alert day, and you can see here from our camera on the west side at 465 and the Sam Jones Expressway that it is a wet morning out there on the road. So just use caution. Traffic in this spot is still traveling about up to speed. We'll continue to monitor any other crashes or delays around the metro area, and we'll keep you updated this morning.
A happy surprise in Nevada this week after a World War II relic was stolen during violent protests in Reno. The American flag had been on the battleship USS Reno and was kept in City Hall. When people broke in, the flag went missing from its display case. But then a news producer who covered the story got an anonymous package. Inside was the flag and a note saying the thief took the flag because it needed protecting. The flag has since been returned to city officials and will be put back on display in a more secure case. Happy to see that that person did the right thing and returned it.
Yes, well, you just heard that sound there, the beep beep, and that means it is a Storm Team 6 alert day. We are all in the studio social distancing, and that includes Todd, who is busy monitoring a lot on the radar right now.
You know, and you heard that noise, that beep beep, that's the alert from the Storm Shield app. If you would have that downloaded on your phone, and it's always a good tool to have, is there is the potential for severe weather. Not anticipating severe weather this morning in the form of thunderstorm warnings, but it would alert you to flood warnings as well, and that definitely is a possibility here this morning, and we already have a few out there, although the rain is starting to lose its intensity for the most part. The one exception is this cell that's now just making its way into Marion County from Speedway to Indianapolis. You see the lightning, you see the heavy rainfall. This band of rain will move out as we go throughout the course of the morning hours, but additional storms are expected to flare up later on this afternoon, and some of those could be severe. We'll talk about that in more detail coming up in just a few minutes. Raphael.
Trying to keep one of its main anchor stores from leaving, and the video mall operators hope police will take action on. I'm Rafael Sanchez. That story at 6 a.m. when I join Lauren, Todd, and Meredith on Good Morning Indiana.
Show today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
John Reed, Sean Reed, did not shoot a gun, did not point a gun, did not brandish a gun at an officer.
The family of John Reed disputing IMPD's account of his fatal interaction with officers. Now at 5:30, the new evidence they're releasing as protests demanding more transparency from officers continue.
In county fairs, they won't look the same this year, but 4-H will keep part of the summer tradition alive. This morning, the plan to allow students to show their hard work off while still maintaining social distancing. But first, it is 5:30. We want to thank you for joining us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. Meteorologist Todd Clausen working hard this morning on this Storm Team 6 alert day. Todd, pretty much no matter where you are in central Indiana, you're going to be experiencing some of these storms.
Yeah, you probably have heard the thunder here throughout the overnight hours. There's nothing severe as far as any thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings, so that's good news. But the main issue is going to be the lightning, which obviously can cause some issues, and also some ponding on the roadways if you do have to get out on the roadways here this morning. Real rough go of it right now on 465 through the southern half of Marion County, really from I-70 over in the eastern portion of the county all the way back towards the airport. Look at these lightning strikes as well. Then some heavier rain from Cumberland out towards Greenfield, heavier rain in Brownsburg as well as Danville, and this extends right along I-74. A few lightning strikes here just north of Bainbridge, and then as we come over to south of Rushville there and to the Shelbyville area, some rain continues to fall. This is overall, though, weakening with the exception of that cell moving through downtown right now, but that too is weakening, and this will fizzle away, I think, pretty quickly as it pushes further to the south over the next hour or so. We'll miss out on this rain. That is going to dive down to the south, but what's going to happen is this weak little front that's bringing us the rain right now, it's going to settle and kind of stall across the southern half of the state, and with the heat and humidity, we'll still build in some more thunderstorms later on this afternoon. A very muggy 67 in Indianapolis, 72 in Bloomington throughout the day today. Showers and storms thunderstorms with high temperatures that'll hover right around 80 degrees. But with the humidity, Lauren, it's going to feel a little bit warmer than that.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look right now at traffic in the downtown area. We do have wet roads, as you can see here from our camera, that you'll need to deal with as you're heading out around the metro area. Something else to keep in mind here, this is a look at 65 near Fletcher Avenue in the downtown area. As you're heading southbound past the South Split, we do have a jackknife semi that's going to slow you down a little bit as you're heading towards the Raymond Street exit. Keep that in mind this morning. That's something we'll continue to monitor throughout your commute. Just use caution as we could have some ponding out there as well. We'll keep you updated on the semi crashes we're monitoring this morning throughout the show.
Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett announced an updated curfew policy for Marion County. The order was not extended for last night or tonight. It will be reinstated Friday and Saturday nights for safety reasons. City leaders are anticipating large demonstrations and do not want a repeat of last weekend's violence and damage. For a sixth day in a row, hundreds of people gathered and marched through downtown Indianapolis yesterday.
And the peaceful protest started off in the afternoon. It lasted into the evening hours. Crowds there chanted the names of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Drejon Reed. Reed was shot and killed by an IMPD officer during a reported exchange of gunfire last month. Protesters we spoke with say they're echoing the calls of Reed's mother, asking for more transparency and answers from the department and city leaders.
And the mayor came out and he made 2 press conferences because of the looting and destruction that's going on in the city. And he mentioned Minneapolis and he mentioned George Floyd. God rest George Floyd's soul. But that's not why Indianapolis is doing all the looting. That's not why it's destruction. It's because it's corruption on our streets and our police department. That's why Indianapolis is in shambles. That's why downtown is boarded up. Because you haven't spoke on Drejon Reed, and that's the problem.
Protesters say they will be out again today, beginning at 4 o'clock.
As we mentioned, one of the reasons people are hitting the streets to protest here in Indianapolis is they are unsatisfied with unanswered questions about the May death of 21-year-old Drejon Reed. He was shot and killed by IMPD officers after allegedly running from police and, according to Metro Police, after firing a gun towards officers. Our Kelsey Anderson joins us live this morning with what the family says that can't be true. Kelsey.
Hey, good morning, Meredith. So over the last 6 days, you could see the name Sean Reed on signs, spray painted on buildings and on boards, boarded up windows, and chanted throughout the streets of Indianapolis. And the attorney for Drejon Reed's family says they are convinced he did not fire a weapon at police officers, and if he even had a weapon on him, he had the right to do so under the Second Amendment. Last month, Reed was on Facebook Live as he led police on a pursuit, according to Metro Police. IMPD says Reed then got out of his car and shot towards officers as he ran away from police. The family's attorney says, according to their witnesses, he never shot at police, and that part they say is simply false. IMPD tells us they haven't had any eyewitnesses come forward, even though they've put the call out for witnesses to come and share what they saw.
I'm here to say to you today, unequivocally, that Drejon Reed, Sean Reed, did not shoot a gun, did not point a gun, did not brandish a gun at an officer.
I'm not perfect, but who is? Which one of you have ever done something you know you shouldn't have done? You can't tell me you perfect. If you tell me you perfect, then you're lying. Just like IMPD is lying.
Yesterday, IMPD Chief Randall Taylor called for the immediate appointment of a special prosecutor in the Reed case, which the Marion County prosecutor requested on May 8th. Now, some of Reed's family members tell us that they have been sleeping at the location where Reed was shot and killed since May 6th, and they plan to do so until justice is served. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, RTV6.
Kelsey, thank you. All 4 officers involved in the killing of George Floyd now arrested and charged, something protesters had been pushing for more than a week. Demonstrators praising the development, but taking to the streets again overnight in their fight for broader change. ABC's Inez de la Catera is in Washington with more.
This morning, a step towards justice.
All 4 officers have been charged.
This crowd in Minneapolis erupting as word spread that all 4 fired Minneapolis police officers are now charged in connection to George Floyd's death.
We got all 4! We got all 4!
Derek Chauvin, the officer seen with his knee on Floyd's neck, now facing upgraded 2nd and 3rd degree murder, along with manslaughter charges, while the other 3 officers are being charged with aiding and abetting.
They need to make an example of these 4 cops so these other cops will think about doing that again.
Tens of thousands still peacefully taking to the streets, arguing they've still got work to do.
For African Americans, justice comes in a drizzle when it should come in a thunderstorm.
In Denver overnight, protesters lighting up their cell phones. In Washington, singing to express their sorrow.
Somebody to lean on.
And in Connecticut, a mock funeral procession.
People said, why a funeral procession? Why this? It's the symbolism. So it's George Floyd today, but it represents every black man and woman who has died senselessly and unjust.
But there were still some clashes. At least 60 people arrested in New York City. In California earlier, peaceful protesters nearly run down after a car barreled through their march.
Starting today, a number of memorial services will be held for Floyd around the country. His funeral will be held next week in Houston. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, Washington.
The time right now is 5:39. We do want to turn to the very latest on the coronavirus pandemic here in the state of Indiana. The number of new COVID-19 cases in our state has increased, but the number of deaths, new deaths here, is down. The Indiana State Department of Health reporting 511 new cases since the start of the pandemic. 35,712 Hoosiers have been diagnosed so far with the virus. There are 10 new COVID-19 deaths. That is 36 fewer deaths than were reported the day before. 2,032 people in the state of Indiana have died from the coronavirus. More than 277,000 people in the state have been tested for the virus so far. That makes it a less than 13% of them testing positive for COVID-19.
As we approach summer, we're also approaching fair season. The great Indiana traditions held across the state now being impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Our Alyssa Donovan has all the details.
Fairs are going to be very different this year across central Indiana. There won't be carnivals, food, or crowds, and kids who've been working with animals like these for months won't have the same experience with 4-H.
14-year-old Braden Hill has been caring for his pig Dre since February. His mom watching as her son has learned responsibility from the 4-H project. The payoff showing that hard work at the Hancock County Fair. But this year, the seats will be empty, no spectators, and only the people necessary to get the job done when it comes to showing animals. Exhibitors will have to wear face masks. The social elements of the fair and 4-H is going to be practically non-existent. While Braden and his family are disappointed, they understand the need for the strict guidelines.
I understand because it's a lot of the grandparents and things and young kids.
I'm glad that they're taking their safety precautions to keep everybody safe.
The Hancock County Fair is set for July 10th through the 17th. However, exhibitors have been told the rules and regulations may still change. I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you. Another hugely popular summer event falls victim to coronavirus. Indianapolis now joins other communities in canceling 4th of July fireworks and related events. The organizers of the Downtown Freedom Fest announced the decision on social media. They said social distancing, public health concerns, and finances were the main factors in the decision. Here at 541, it is a Storm Team 6 alert day. Todd, a lot going on out there.
Yeah, a lot of lightning out there in the sky here this morning across the area as this thunderstorm continues to roll right now through the metro area. This is kind of the last of the thunderstorm action. This whole line has been weakening over the last hour or so, but look at all this lightning just to the west of Indianapolis back towards Speedway. A few lightning strikes here in between Beech Grove as well as the Greenwood area. Then some heavier rainfall off towards the east as well. This downpour just north of Greensburg, and this will continue to slide off down towards the south and east. So we'll deal with rain this morning, or we have been dealing with rain. It'll kind of diminish through the middle half of the morning. morning. And then once we get to the afternoon hours, rain chances will start to ramp up once again during the peak heating of the day. And it's the storms that develop this afternoon that will have the potential to be on the strong to maybe even severe side, with wind and hail and flooding being the main threats. We'll talk more about those storms and have the rest of your news headlines coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues. The time now is 5:42.
Medicine. AbbVie may be able to help.
Welcome back. It is 5:46. We are monitoring another traffic issue for your commute here in the downtown area. This is our view of I-65 and I-70 at the North Split. You see those flashing lights off in the distance. Right now, they are closing the southbound lanes there to I-65 southbound at the North Split. You can see drivers still continuing on to 70. We do have a jackknifed semi issue in the southbound lane, so you will need to avoid that spot for your commute. You may just want to get off of Meridian Street and take it through downtown and reconnect with 70 down there near the South Split. So we'll continue to monitor this. It's supposed to be closed about 90 minutes right now, but of course we'll keep you updated.
Here at 5:46 today, the 3 suspects accused in Ahmaud Arbery's death will be in court. This will be the first court appearance for Gregory McMichael, his son Travis McMichael, and William Roddy Bryan Jr. Gregory and Travis McMichael were arrested last month in the February shooting death of Arbery. They face murder and aggravated assault charges. Bryan, the man who recorded the incident, is facing felony murder charges. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp is putting a strong law enforcement presence around the courthouse. He says he does not want any bad actors to disrupt the hearings.
It is 5:47. Former President Barack Obama delivered a hopeful speech while speaking at a town hall on Wednesday. The first African-American president took part in this town hall discussion with the nonprofit group that he founded. It's called My Brother's Keeper Alliance. Other attendees include former Attorney General Eric Holder, Minneapolis City Council member Philippe Cunningham, and several community activists. Speaking to those concerned about the ongoing protests, Obama said our country was founded on them.
Just remember, this country was founded on protests. It is called the American Revolution. And every step of progress in this country, every expansion of freedom, every expression of our deepest ideals has been won through efforts that made the status quo uncomfortable.
The former president also urged young people there to continue to get involved in those protests and become politically active as well. At 5:48, we do want to toss things over to Todd for a check of our Storm Team 6 forecast. It is an alert day, Todd, and we can hear the rain coming down so hard right now in the studio.
Yeah, you know, I put us in alert mode because of the potential for flooding here across the area. And, of course, lightning makes any of these storms very dangerous, even though nothing is severe as far as thunderstorm warnings go. But if you are getting out on the roadways, keep in mind we haven't had rain in a couple days. I know there were some spotty storms yesterday, but that could create some slicker conditions on the roadways. And Lauren's been telling you there's a couple fairly large accidents out there with semis. And as far as the heavy rain goes, Beech Grove to Greenwood now, over into the Cumberland area, Warren Township as well. Some lightning strikes in and around the metro area, but there's still just a lot of light rain still present across most of central Indiana. A few downpours here just north of the Greensburg area. These are pushing towards Brookville. Some light rain from Richmond to the north, and then some more moderate rainfall just south of Lebanon here as you cross over I-74 and make your way into portions of Hendricks County. So the overall trend here for the next hour or so will be for the rain to continue to decrease in coverage. And you see that on this 3-hour radar loop. The coverage of the rain and the intensity, for that matter, continues to become less and less. So that's good news for us as our morning progresses. We do have a couple flood warnings on the far eastern side of the state. I'm a little surprised we haven't had some additional ones, but that's always good news, right, when we don't add more flood warnings to the equation. So our rain is starting to come to an end for now. We'll fire up more storms later, and this big cluster of storms continues to drive down to the south near St. Louis, so you don't have to worry about that. But here's how we go hour by hour using TrueCast. Skies will break into some sunshine here throughout the middle half of the morning, and then throughout the afternoon hours, this front is going to still be down to our south, but it's going to be close enough to flare flare up additional storms during the peak heating of the day. So really from 3 o'clock onward, some additional storms will start to flare up across parts of the area. The best chance will be again to the south and east of Indianapolis. And it's not out of the question, some of those storms could be strong to severe later on this afternoon. With our low, moderate, high scale here, moderate potential for high winds and flooding, large hail, not out of the question. The tornado threat pretty low, and we are under the marginal risk for parts of the area. 60s and 70s this morning. It's warm, it's muggy as we work our way throughout the day today. We'll dodge these showers and storms off and on. Temperatures will be in the 80s, and as you look at your 7-day planning forecast, it's more of the same for tomorrow. Then once we get into the weekend, lower humidity, lots of sunshine. Temperatures will be in the 80s. Lows both Saturday and Sunday morning down into the 50s, so it becomes very, very comfortable. And then the middle of next week, a little uncertain. It'll all depend on the track, Lauren, of Tropical Storm Cristobal.
All right, Todd, we'll keep an eye on that. Back here at home, we are monitoring, though, that traffic alert. This is in the downtown area. You can see the flashing lights off at a distance as crews are working on a jackknifed semi-crash at the North Split in the southbound lanes of I-65, so you can get on 70 just fine in that area. But 65, you'll likely want to get off maybe at Meridian Street and head through downtown. You may be able to use the collector ramp. We are going to continue to monitor this and let you know when things are back open, but we do have a wet morning commute, so use caution as you're heading out there. We've had several incidents so far this morning involving semis, so we'll keep you posted.
A new restaurant in Hamilton County lets you build your perfect bowl of mac and cheese. Coming up, our Brad Brown takes us to Westfield, where Indiana's first I Heart Mac and Cheese is now open for business. We'll be right back.
And a tour.
Noodles and sauce in almost any combo. It's something that just about anyone can enjoy, and even better when someone else is doing the cooking.
Now there's a new place in Westfield where you can build almost any kind of macaroni and cheese your heart desires. Brad Brown is loading up on the carbs in Hamilton County.
The area near Westfield's Grand Park is growing exponentially by the week, and the newest restaurant on this stretch of State Road 32 is ready to feed those crowds.
It's been a dream of ours for almost a year. So to finally have the doors open, it's just a breath of fresh air. It's really nice.
Liz Griffin and her husband Matt are the team leading the crew at I Heart Mac and Cheese. After 2 decades in law enforcement, the couple was ready to take on the challenge of opening their own business.
He got the idea on Entrepreneur magazine, and the light bulb went off. There's nothing around here like this restaurant. And, you know, with Grand Park opening in Westfield and me being an officer here in the city, the light bulb went off, and it was a good fit.
We thought about it, prayed about it, and ultimate decision was not to hit the pause button and push through. And we're very happy that we did.
What came out of it is this first-of-its-kind concept in the Midwest. The menu is built around mac and cheese, and they've really got something for everyone.
They can come in and they can get a broccoli bowl, or they can get a cauliflower bowl. We have vegan, and we also have gluten-free options.
From the different proteins, from meatballs to short rib to pulled pork, grilled chicken, crispy chicken, ham, pepperoni, the list goes on.
Start with pasta noodles or quinoa, even tater tots, then multiple sauces, veggies to add, more cheese to include, thousands of potential combos when you build your own, from the basic mac to luxurious lobster with white truffle oil. And then there's the best of both worlds.
I mean, who would have thought macaroni and cheese on a grilled cheese sandwich?
That's right, you can stuff your mac and cheese creation between buttery slices of Texas toast for the ultimate carb-on-carb feast. The whole thing is a can't-miss formula, in the right place at the right time.
We can't be happier. And we've got 4 kids and another one on the way. And so it's going to be a very, very busy summer, but one that's going to be so enjoyable.
Love Westfield, love the community, love the people, love all the city officials. So this was the perfect home for us.
All right, sign me up for one of those grilled cheese sandwiches with the mac and cheese on it, Brad. That looked terrific. All right, outside right now we are dealing with some heavy downpours, a little bit of lightning still, but everything is starting to diminish as far as the intensity of the rain, the coverage of the rain, and the lightning. Fading away a little bit, but some heavier downpours still from Lebanon to Mooresville and from Indianapolis, then off towards the east into the Greenfield area. Now, this band of rain will fade away over the course of the next hour or two, but more storms will flare up later on this afternoon. Those will have the potential to be strong to severe. We'll talk more about the severe threat and look ahead to the traffic situation, which isn't the best this morning, as well as your news headlines coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues.